What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 14 of the Fight House Talks podcast. And today we're going to have a very special guest, a real great guy, one of my instructors, Mr. Julien Masson. Hope I said that right. Also known as Julien AC Adrenaline Combatives. Yeah. Today is going to be a little different show. We're not going to be talking about fighting and beating somebody's face in and defending yourself. It's going to be a little bit more in depth, more in theme and lines with the Halloween fall season. So we'll be talking about spirituality, metaphysical, even the paranormal associated with the arts. So get ready to get spooky. I got my pumpkin, and you should be lighting your pumpkin too while we talk about some crazy stuff. Not so crazy, and just see where it goes to. We want to do a show like this for a while. Not just talking about combatives and knife systems, but just kind of going a little bit more in depth. Mr. Julien is a very spiritual person when it comes to metaphysical yoga, meditation, stuff like that. He believes really strongly in that, and in a way, so do I. So we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. Like I said, and maybe they have some ghost stories in there, some paranormal experiences. I want to talk about paranormal. I've been an investigator for over 10 years, investigating haunted locations all throughout the Southwest United States. So we're going to share some stuff like that too. But enough of me yip yapping. Let's get to the man of the hour. Let's go ahead and add him to the stage, Mr. Julien AC.
Hey,
how's it going?
good.
You're backstage cringing. You're like, oh fuck, he's gonna fuck my name up.
Wow. You did better than I did last podcast I did a couple of days ago with Tommy Joe Moore, and I completely
I saw that. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Well, good afternoon to you. It's good morning here. It's 8:03, and it's 4:03 in the afternoon here. So I've been wanting to we've had you on. We had an FMA discussion when I was on it before, and I didn't want to come on here again and talk about the same stuff we had talked about before. So I want to talk about some spirituality, some metaphysical, some paranormal. Even we're gonna have that in the mix too.
Why
like
not?
I said, it's appropriate for the Halloween season. Halloween's 2 weeks.
It's getting closed.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love going Halloween when I going trick and treating when I was a kid. Not even. Mate, even when I was an adolescent, I loved just putting like costumes on and just that's fun, isn't it? Like I would even do it now, like if people were doing it still. But the UK don't really do it that much. Just the kids. Do you know what I mean?
I was gonna say, how big is Halloween over there? Because I haven't really heard any stories.
It's big enough for the shops to be filled up with spooky stuff, but like I say, it's mainly kids, mainly young kids that are going trick and treating, which is too bad, really, because I was having a lot of fun doing it. I'm sure I'd still have a lot of fun right now doing it. Like, how is it in America? It's like even grown-ups are doing it, yeah?
Yeah, fucking Halloween is 24/7 for me. Like, come and look at my fucking house. There's all kinds of horror stuff in there, and curiosities and bones and human bones.
Did you buy like a big loads of sweets and candies for the kids?
No, I haven't done it yet. Every year we get a plethora of kids. We get kids from. I'm already getting off fucking work, pulling the fucking driveway, and I got fucking kids already with candy bags. And I'm getting off coming from work. Like, hey, trick or treat. I'm like, hey, it's like 4 o'clock.
Are you waiting for them at the window with one of these? Yeah.
Oh no! We want to do that here. You can't do that here now. Not in this country. But it's for me, Halloween's 24/7. It's something that's been ingrained to me since I was a young child. Dealing with the topic, you said, of spirituality and physical stuff, I believe strongly in that. And that's been something ingrained since I was a kid. I used to live in a house that was haunted. House was built in 1899. My parents had moved into it and renovated it, but the spirits were still there in the house. But I've always been into spooky stuff. The off the grid kind of stuff. Horror, some of the occult stuff, metaphysical, spiritual, paranormal. And I think that's kind of resonated with my kids. My kids they like the ghost stuff, like the horror stuff.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are gonna probably come watch the show and think, well, it doesn't have nothing to do with martial arts. But we're gonna get into that. People, just relax. We're just kind of breaking the ice here.
Eventually, I mean, the paranormal and the ghost is stuff like we can get onto it a little bit. Generally, that doesn't really have much to do with the martial arts.
No, but it's Halloween and it's my show, so I want to talk about it.
No, listen, no taboo. We can speak about whatever you want, bro. Then eventually, if we speak about spirituality,
no, we are. We're gonna talk. We're gonna start off with that. We're gonna start off with that.
What do you want to start off with? Should we start with the ghost, with the spooky stuff, or do you want the spooky stuff?
No, I want to leave that in the end because I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that. So what I want to talk about is, me and you had conversations about, how your mental health and your spirituality helps with your training in the art or combatives, and also metaphysical healing, crystals, meditation, dare I say it, hallucinogenic drugs.
Yeah.
They all kind of go hand in hand with your well-being and mental health and direction and concentration in martial arts. So without me yip-yapping too much, I just want to kind of ask you how spirituality and metaphysical healing or metaphysical itself has helped you with your training.
That is a good question, and that is a big question. Like, I would have to kind of take you a bit through my story to go on with answering that question.
Floor is all yours.
I'll just put it that way, that for anyone that has gone through some sort of spiritual awakening, we all have different reasons. We all have different triggers, and generally, one spiritual awakening comes from a lot of suffering. Okay, either suffering or trauma or lack of self-love, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-trust. It all really boils down to self-love. Yeah, and I always say to people, like, first, we got to ask ourselves the main three questions. Who we are, where we come from, and where we're going. A lot of people don't even ask themselves that question. They spend a whole lifetime without actually asking themselves who they are, really, truly at the core, who we are, and where we come from, and where we're going. So it can be obviously on the physical level where we come from. We all know where we come from, yeah. But on the spiritual level, where do we come from? Like, if you believe in reincarnation, where were we before? Did we incarnate on this planet many times before, or are we maybe coming from somewhere else and incarnating on this planet for the first time? There's a lot of different answers to that, a lot of different people and spiritual beings, because what we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and not the other way around. And eventually we come to discover that fact that we're not physical beings. We're those spiritual beings trapped inside this meat-coated skeleton, you know what I mean? And so for me, it was really coming from my childhood that was really difficult, because I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid, which I'm pretty sure I still do, and on the mild spectrum of autism. So it was very, very difficult for me to fit in the society and fit in the classroom with all the kids. And it was been quite difficult, because I don't think I was ever meant to fit in. I don't think I was ever meant to be part of this crazy society. And let's face it, this society is crazy. Like, a lot of people don't see it. A lot of people don't see it because that's all they know. All they know is a 9-to-5 job, wake up, go to work, come back, sleep, and that's all they know. But there's something beyond that. there's so much beyond that. Like, this 3D reality is such a small percentage of what there is, and even what we can see. He said that we can only see and perceive 3% of the electromagnetic spectrum of light with the naked eye anyway. So there is 97% of reality happening simultaneously around us, and we're not even aware of it. We can't see it. We can probably sense it on a spiritual level, but we've lost touch with those senses. So there is much, much more. And when I was a kid, it was like I already knew that. I had that feeling inside that I always knew that there was something more, and that this wake up early and go to school and be an obedient kid and listen to your teacher, and I could never do with this. It's like I've always had that problem with authority. Not that I'm a bad person that does bad things. Although when I was a kid, when I was an adolescent, I got mixed up with the wrong people for a while, and I kind of went on the other side of the line a good few times, and then eventually I kind of reversed my life. But just put it that way, I already knew when I was a kid. I was like, that's not for me. Going to school, not for me. Listening to that crap that the teachers are peddling. It's like I already knew back then that 80% of what you learn at school is decided for you. It's not real knowledge. It's not real stuff. They're not teaching our kids how to think. They're teaching them what to think. And there is a big difference between teaching your kids what to think and how to think. And a school, a proper educational system should be to teach our children how to think and how to deal with life and how to deal with our own mind, our own heart, living in harmony with ourselves and with our life. And we're not being taught that. Unfortunately, the stuff that we're being taught as kids is how to be obedient little slaves. And I'm sorry, but that's really what it is.
Right.
And it's like I knew that from a kid. I knew that's what was happening. And I was like, I'm not falling for this shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from a very young age, I started to get in trouble at school because I didn't listen. And, I always had that thing, even now. Like, I'm just that type of person. If people raise their voice at me, I just want to slap them. Do you know? I'm like, how I will never raise my voice to a person. Do you know what I mean? I will treat people the way that I want to be treated. So somebody start raising their voice at me, and I don't care who they are. They can be the police, they can be teachers, they can be whoever. I never liked it. You know what I mean? So every time at school, I was just, I was just telling them to fuck off, basically. Do you know what I mean?
We all want to do that shit too. We're gonna. I was gonna ask you when going back to, like, you said he always knew, like, there was, wasn't for you, stuff like that. How was your energy field compared to now to when you were a child?
Right.
How was that energy field and aura? Did it grow? Did it kind of stay the same, or do you feel that you kind of
it evolves? Nothing really stay the same. Nothing is stagnant. Everything is alive. Everything is flowing and moving and vibrating. I think that when I was a kid, I was very, very hyperactive. Very hyperactive. I mean, you couldn't sit me in one place. My legs would be jumping all the time. I'd be looking around. I'd be, it's very difficult for me to focus on one thing until I found martial arts, really. But I was very, very jumpy when I was a kid. I had too much energy. I was loud. I was making a lot of noise. And that was me, and that was a problem everywhere I was going because I was too noisy, too energetic, and it's like I had that energy to channel somewhere, put somewhere, and I didn't know where to put it at first, and a lot of people found that strange, that I was that guy that was always not mixing with the group. I wanted to be part of the group, but I was kind of rejected from the group because of the way that I was behaving. And so how was my energy field? I'd say that I always had a really like a really powerful energy. I've always had that, even though in the later years, I felt like this energy has kind of settled much more.
Did you feel that you had to develop it, like when you got older, or just that naturally, kind of like when you started doing the martial arts? Did you feel that you had to work on developing the energy, or just kind of just flow to you naturally?
At first, no. I mean, at first, I just needed something to channel my energy, and that was martial arts. Or it wasn't only that. It wasn't only martial arts to channel my energy, although this was like a big part of it. It was mainly martial art was a way to affirm myself that I'm good at something, because everywhere I was going at school, I was the kid that wasn't learning at school. I was the kid that was talking back to teachers. I was the kid that was drawing instead of learning. And that's another thing. I've always been very good with art. So I've always been in touch with my artistic side. So I used to draw, I used to sculpt, I used to do like pottery and things like that. So I've always been really good with all that stuff. And that's how I was expressing myself. So I needed to find a way to express myself as a kid. Music was another thing that I've always had like a musical ear. And so martial arts was really the thing that helped me express myself. And also martial art was the thing that helped me gain respect from people. And that's something I was always looking for when I was a kid, because I was lacking that. Because, like I said, I was a bit the idiot of the class. So, that's the image that people had of me. And so when I started to do martial arts and people seen that I was actually quite good at it, that's when I started to really get respect from the people around me. So it was a big thing for me. So first of all, I loved it. I loved it for that reason, that I could honestly express myself and actually be creative with something. And at the same time, I was getting recognition from the people. So that was sacred for me, man. Martial arts was really like like parents, like my real parents. Like martial art understood me, and I understood martial art, and that was my thing, and it stayed my thing for all those years.
When you have you considered yourself a real like religious spiritual person? And when you first started in the art, did you feel that any kind of spirituality or stuff like that kind of guided you when you first started?
That is quite difficult to tell, but I will answer that question. No, I didn't really. It wasn't conscious. Now, there's one thing that people need to remember. We're all spiritual beings, whether we want to accept it or not. Is whether we are aware of it or not, whether we aligned with that truth or not. And at that point, when I was a kid, I didn't align with that truth on a conscious level. So no, I didn't view myself as a spiritual child, but I already back then truly believed in some things that most people don't believe in. I used to believe in ghosts. I used to believe in aliens. I used to believe in superpower, and I knew that all that shit was real. I've always known that I've always believed in stuff like that. Eventually, with the time, as as things happened in my life, and that triggered pain and suffering, and sometimes like big catalysts and like moment of epiphany, that helped me realize, whoa, okay, that's what it is. And it was mainly the psychedelics. It was mainly the plant medicine and the psychedelics that really opened my mind and basically shown me what I already knew, but brought it to a conscious level this time. So what I already knew on an unconscious level has been made conscious eventually at some point, but much later in life, when I was 25 years old, which is a very early age to have a spiritual awakening compared to a lot of people that I know.
Yeah, that's pretty young. Yeah.
Most people get their spiritual awakening not necessarily in this lifetime. Not everybody goes through it, only the people that are ready for that. But generally, those people are going through it around after 40, 45, 50 years old. Do you know what I mean? I went through mine at 25 because it was a necessity. That's what I understand now. It was a necessity for me to wake up, to break away from the matrix, which I already knew on an unconscious level. I was very unhappy inside the 3D matrix. And that's when I realized, this is just the 3D walls of reality, but it's in no way, shape, or form the whole.
But lots of times it takes a traumatic event, or you realize you're fucking up. Like I'm going in the wrong direction in my life. Like and I'm not religious. I'm not trying to hear preach the Bible or anything. I'm not religious at all either. Do I believe in stuff like you said? Yes. But sometimes it takes something traumatic where you got to step back and maybe trying to ask for help for something that's higher than you, to guide you through, whether it's life or something that's difficult, that's processing. Just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying, when I was a kid, I used to pay attention a lot. I was complete opposite. I paid attention a lot. I was real, good in class. Never got bullied. Just kind of, had a lot of friends, kind of sociable. But the one thing that kind of like when I went into the military is when I kind of had my spiritual awakening. I felt weak. I've been far away from home. It's the first time and this is when I went to my basic training. Yeah. And I felt that, I wasn't going to make it. Like the first 2 weeks were fucking, I know people are going to laugh or like, well, it's Air Force training. It's fucking easy. Well, it was, but I was a young kid. I went in, I was 18.
Yeah.
So it was a traumatic thing. It has somebody yelling at you, fucking pushing you, flipping your fucking bed over at 2 a.m, because you didn't make your t-shirt right. You know what I mean? So I had my spiritual awakening where I was like, maybe I need to seek higher power, whether it's, whatever. I'm not going to share what I believed in, but I put trust into it, and it guided me through. Just that little thing, that that reassurance, that backup, that if I believe in this, it's going to get me through this, and it did. So that was my spiritual awakening. It was around that age, around 18, which is even younger than you had.
Okay.
And then I slipped out of it. I mean, what they call when they call Christians born again, they get baptized or saved.
Yeah.
I backslid. Okay, so I went into when I first went to my first base, all hell broke loose. I was like, fuck, I'm in now. I'm past that. I don't need that shit anymore. Blah blah. And all kinds of stuff ensued over the next couple of years in my career. And then I really haven't had much of it lately at all, to be honest with you. That kind of ties into what we're talking about afterwards, is my paranormal experience. We're believing in something that's other people don't believe in. It's not there, trying to document it or gather data or evidence for it. Okay, so we talked about the spirituality stuff, which I think we kind of.
There's plenty more to cover. I mean, we can break.
Yeah, we could be here all day talking about that. But what I really want to get into is the stuff we're talking about before off camera, after our training and stuff like that. And that is the metaphysical and the what do they call it? Psychedelic. Okay, we'll just say it. Psychedelic substances that enhance your training, and metaphysical, whether it's meditation, yoga, deep breathing, crystal healing, which was something I was big into for a while, and I still kind of like once in a while I'll go into it when I'm feeling down and do a lot of crystal healing. So I want to talk to you about that. So what's your thoughts on metaphysical healing after a hard workout, hard training? I mean, I see your videos, you're beating the fuck out of somebody, elbowing with the pads and the helmet on. Is there any kind of metaphysical conditioning or rehabilitation you do after your training that you feel helps you?
Well, I mean, it could be after, it could be before, it could be, really later in the day or earlier in the day. Yes, there's plenty of things that can work for people, and there's different people, so different things that work for different people. We speak about meditation, but meditation is not easy for everyone. I mean, I've been struggling with it for a long time. I managed to meditate, but a different way. It's not really my thing to just go and go in the lotus position and put my hands like this and just
Yeah.
that doesn't really work for me. There's a lot of different ways to meditate. Meditation could also be done while moving, while doing some slow movements. You could even meditate while you shadow box. It's a state. It's a mental state that you put yourself into. It's some sort of trance state where you shift your brain waves so that you become more receptive to everything. Okay. And it's kind of slowing your mind down. So really the true essence of spirituality, of meditation, is the finding this state of presence where your thoughts are not disturbing you anymore. That we get so many thoughts every day beating the crap out of our brain, out of our mind, and sometimes, very often, when you look into it, these thoughts are destructive thoughts, negative thoughts that are driving us to illness or mental illness. And so it's really what it is finding the way to get inside your body and look within, and getting rid of bypassing the analytical mind so that you can find this safe space inside of yourself where it's nice and quiet, and where you can either visualize whatever you want. Yeah, you can use visualization. That's one thing that I use a lot. I've been using visualization as a kid. With Before I even knew what visualization was, I was doing it instinctively as a kid. That's how I trained as well. I was training at the gym, doing my skill set, my techniques and stuff. But what I was doing was closing my eyes, put some nice music, like some Prodigy music. Like, I love the Prodigy, big fan. I used to put some of that music on my bed, and I just to close my eyes and just visualize myself fighting like multiple opponents coming from all sides. Do you know what I mean?
Getting in the zone is what you call it, right? Getting in the zone, like focus. Like,
And then I would take notes as well on a piece of paper what I was doing, and I was create my new skills, my new techniques, new ways of punching and doing stuff. So that's something that I've done since I was a kid, and I continue doing it. But in terms of like metaphysical training, so meditation, like I said, is a big thing. Find your way that you can meditate. Yeah, there's many different ways to meditate, and one or more of those ways will be for you, while the rest might not be for you. And for that, you need to have a look at what everybody else does and try different things. Um, Really, one book that really got me to try and to find different ways to meditate was The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, which is an amazing book. I think that, you see, this is the type of book, if that type of book was given to our kids at school to read, the world would be a completely different place.
oh yeah, yeah,
So
for
you
sure.
see that sort of thing. But now if we get, the meditation out of the way, okay, because like I said, many different ways. Some people will meditate while they're ironing their shirt. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
like the Musashi way, you know what I mean, of anything that you do is a meditation. So if you start seeing things like that, you it gives you a different outlook on meditation. Because for a lot of people, when you speak about meditation, they think about you seated in a lotus position and just closing your eyes and going, like
do
om.
that again.
Oming.
It's just funny.
Well. The om is a practice of resonance within you as well, where you tune. It's like a tuning fork.
Yeah,
You're tuning your body to a certain frequency
certain vibration. Yeah.
through your own vocal cord and your own breath work. So there's plenty of things to do there. Then there is meditations that you can perform with the breath. Okay, I call those breath meditation, um, where basically you're going to find a way to breathe. And there's a lot of different types of breath work. Okay, there is slow breath work, deep breath work. There is shallow breath work, short and really quick. like fire breath, where you're there's like this holotropic breath work where you're really like kind of taking in and out and in and out, not as fast as possible, but big amounts of oxygen in and release.
Yeah.
Full in and release, full in and release. Or you got things like box breathing, like 3 second inhale, 3 second hold, 3 second exhale, 3 second hold. Or you can do 4 second or 5 second. Or so there's plenty of ways to breathe. And once you start becoming in tune with your breathing, then there's plenty of things that you can do. You can now start using visualization as well and start breathing life into things. Yeah. So you can start breathing life into ideas that you have to give them life. Yeah. Give
Mhm.
life to your ideas or your dreams or your objectives or stuff that you want to manifest. Yeah. So you can use breath to give life to certain ideas, to certain things. The more you breathe into something, the more you're giving it energy. Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's breathing life into things. Okay. It could be that you are sending energy to someone, yeah, via your mind. You're thinking about a person and you're breathing that energy right out to them. That's a way of sending people energy. Or you could breathe in the energy, the cosmic energy, the cosmic rays, as I like to call them. So there are meditations where you're seated straight, preferably, and you're visualizing your energy centers. And what you're doing is like you are visualizing the cosmic energy that's coming from the core of the universe, the source of creation. What
Mhm.
created everything. Yeah, what initiated the Big Bang? Boom! This. It all started from one tiny little particle. Yeah,
Mhm.
that grew and became a massive universe that became multiverses, and like it never ends. It's infinite. Okay, but basically, you visualize that energy. So you visualize like a beam of light that's shooting from the stars, from the sky, that enters through your crown chakra. Yeah, that's why it's important to open as well the crown chakra and visualize it. You visualize it like a lotus flower that just blooms and
Mhm.
opens. Yeah, and so you get that energy that enters your crown chakra, and then you can also draw the energy from Mother Earth via your sacral and your root chakra. Yeah, so you get energy entering you from below and from above, and
Mhm.
that can meet in any energy center that you want to empower. Yeah, imagine that it's like you want to charge your third eye, for example. Yeah, so you will visualize as you breathe in as deeply and as long, like a slow and long and deep inhale. Yeah, and you'll visualize that light energy, that blue light energy that's shooting from the sky, that's entering through your crown chakra, and that is stopping here. Yeah, and you'll visualize the same. You'll visualize this green ray from
Mhm.
Mother Earth, from the planet, from the core of the earth, the kundalini of the earth, in line with your own kundalini. You'll visualize that energy entering you through your root chakra and stopping here as well. So you're basically powering this energy center via both sides. You're drawing the energy from the earth, and you're drawing the cosmic energy from
Mhm.
the universe. So we call that the cosmic parents. Yeah, it's like your the great father. The great father is the
This
universe.
guy, yeah, Mother Earth down
Great
is.
father is the earth. Yeah, and we are the child, the son or the daughter. So it's all about understanding this connection that we have with the earth and the cosmos and the universe, and how to be that iPod on the docking station. You put the
Mhm.
iPod on the docking station, and it start charging.
Mhm.
That's the same concept here. You are charging yourself with energy via the Earth rays and the cosmic rays, and you can activate your Merkaba energy field. And there's a lot of work. There's a lot of things that we forgot as human beings, as spiritual beings. The stuff that we can do with our minds and our hearts and our brain
It
interconnected
kind
to
of
one.
seems. It kind of seems that all the stuff definitely pertains to your training, because now you're kind of opening your mind up even to accept information, accept energy, to
Yeah,
expel energy, to direct it.
yeah.
But you seem like your body's in a more calmer states. You're able to free
For
flow
sure.
more. You're able to use your power more. You know what I mean?
The goal there is to understand who we are, is to remember who we are, because the truth is that we're all one. We're all tiny little particles that are part of an even bigger organism. We live in a fractal universe. You know, the universe is made of
Yeah.
things that you could dive into the fabric of the universe and always find something smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to the infinite. And exactly the same, you can actually zoom out, yeah, from wherever, from the top, and you will always find something bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's where the old esoteric saying goes, that as above so below, which means that what is happening in the cosmos, in the where the stars, the heavens, the planets, the nebulas, the cosmic clouds, the galaxies, it's all happening at the level of the DNA. It's
Mhm.
all happening at the inside of us too. So when you become conscious of that, you realize that we're all one, and we're all the universe experiencing itself through the two reality projectors that we call eyeballs. You know what I mean? And so this is where, when I say we need to remember who we are, this is what I mean. We're unlimited conscious awareness that is experiencing itself, and we're incarnating, life after life after life, in order to learn
Yeah.
more lessons. And it's all about learning. Okay, it's all about learning and become more complete, and merging back with the source, with the one, with the source of creation, which is ultimately what we are. But we forgot. We're like an amnesic race of beings. We forgot who we are. Yeah. And so that's really what it is, remembering who you are via all these little things that I spoke about. Breath work, either be it, holotropic breath work, which is a great way as well to connect to yourself. If you have a look at Wim Hof, you have a look at the guy on Facebook, like Certified Health Nut. Uh, there's there's a few really good guys out there that
Mhm.
will teach you different types of breath work. And with the good thing with holotropic breath work is that when, let's say you do five sets of 30 reps, yeah, of nice deep hollow breath work, yeah, like holotropic breath work, like where you go deep, you really try to oxygenize your body and your muscles, and eventually you you start buzzing. Your whole being starts buzzing from the oxygen that you're putting in your body. And that's what Wim Hof calls, getting high on your own supply. You know,
Yeah.
he's a funny guy, Wim Hof. I like him. I'd love to meet the guy someday. But he says it's getting high on your own supply. And so by breathing, by really hyper oxygenize your body, then you're kind of getting high, and you really are when you do it right. It's like, whoa, even you start getting lightheaded, and your whole body is breathing. Your whole body becomes cold, like, not in a bad way, but it's just,
Yeah.
and then you hold your breath, and you can feel that energy. You just filled your body with that energy, and it's a really good feeling. But you need to go past this discomfort stage, because when you're not used to that stuff and you start feeling your body buzzing, that's a bit scary at first, and you're like, oh shit, I don't want to do that no more. What's happening to me? And so, but there is like some sort of boundary, and once you go past that boundary, then you're really ripping all the benefits of breath work, and you know and kind of
Mhm.
filling your body with that energy. So that works really well with cold water therapy, and a lot of people are doing that now. It's all over the internet. It's really Wim Hof that kind of launched that
Yeah.
thing. I'm sure people were doing it before, but Wim Hof is the guy that became popular for that. And so now everybody's doing it. All the fighters, all the MMA guys, the Thai boxing, the boxers, high level guys, they're all doing ice
Yeah.
bath and things like that.
Yeah, it's coming by down. Before we go on, I want a couple of people to leave some comments. Mr. Jaime Aguilar says good morning. Guru Tom, I guess he's in the Philippines. He said, hey, hello from the Philippines. Richard Pac-Man, hello from Kansas, always another loyal viewer. So we talked about that, like the meditation, stuff like that. Let's get into the juicy stuff. So psychedelic substances. Okay. I have found in my own personal journey that your mind does get opened up. I felt that by doing, even the crystal stuff, which I don't, do a whole lot anymore. I don't know if you do that, but I felt.
Can you see my window? Can you see my window sill?
Oh yeah, okay. I see it. Yeah.
I got a massive collection of crystals, man.
Okay, we're definitely on the same page with crystals. So after a long day's training, your crystal healing. But the psychedelic substances seems to be something that I have found to improve my training over the last couple of years, because I feel, and I know, that they're considered by people, by stoners or whatever, just, oh yeah, I'm on, trip, whatever. But I felt that, by doing microdosing or some kind of substances like that, it's enhanced my training as far as I'm open and more receptive.
Yeah.
And even more creative to what the material I take in. The material you've given me, the material other instructors have given me, I've played with it. I've done it, and I've found, like, at first when I see it and I absorb it, I understand why and what it's used for, right?
Yeah.
When I do that, I feel I go more into a deeper enhancement. Okay, now I have a deeper meaning why he showed me dropping that body weight, why he showed me to go at this angle, like, it's like, and I kind of see myself like in a second person kind of doing it. It's everybody's experiences are different, and I'm not saying mine are the same as everybody else's, but I see it different thing,
Yeah. What you just said basically is something that's very truth, and what psychedelic substances give you, and I'm not talking about the chemical stuff, I'm more talking about the plant medicine,
natural,
about the natural organic stuff that Mother Earth grows. You know what I mean? If she grows it, she knows what she's doing. She's growing it for our consumption. As long as we do it right, what those plant medicine do for us is that they give us self-reflection. They give us personal awareness and the ability to look at yourself from within. So you see how the eyes are on the outside of our body, which means that all we can see with those eyes, these two eyes, is the outside world. Okay, the 3D reality that you can smell. Okay, but now there is an eye that we have inside here that we call the third eye. Okay, and that eye is facing inward. That eye is not facing outward, otherwise we would see it. Otherwise we would have a third eye here looking out. But no, it's inside. And this is the eye that you use to observe yourself, observe your thoughts and behaviors and emotions and feelings. Okay, this is the what I call the self-reflecting eye. Okay, is the eye that can just look at yourself and go, huh, okay, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling now. All right, this is what my emotions are now. Do you know what I mean? And by doing that, it kind of shows you that you can dissociate yourself from who you think you are and who most people think they are. And most people think that what we are is the mind. Do you remember who was it that said, "I think, therefore I am"? Was it Voltaire, the French guy, or no, René Descartes? René Descartes.
Give me French. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to say that I know.
It's like a philosopher from the old ages said, "I think, therefore I am," and that is very wrong because that means that you're associating with your mind. You are actually identifying to the content of your mind, when the mind is not what you are. The mind is not what we are. The mind is our instrument. It's an instrument that we can use and that we can lay to rest once we're done with it. But most people are trapped in the mind. They believe that they are their mind. So they believe that whatever is happening in there is theirs. And I can tell you from experience that 80% of the stuff that's happening in there is not initiated by you. It's coming from energies and influences that can come from various organism and beings that, like spiritual beings that are kind of
Yeah.
that's influencing your thoughts with certain energies. Okay.
Yeah.
When you start becoming self-aware more, you start to see the difference between you hearing voices in your head, hearing some thoughts that are coming from somewhere, yeah, and when you actually choose to initiate a thought. These are two very different things, man. And a lot of people don't see the difference between that. They think that everything that is happening here is theirs. It's not. And, I don't think that thoughts are happening inside the head. I don't think that consciousness is happening inside our head. Anyway, we perceive it, but it's everywhere. It's a field of consciousness. It's what we call the akasha, the akashic records. Yeah, it's a field of consciousness where everyone's thoughts is stored. It's like a hard drive. Yeah, it's like a spiritual universal hard drive with infinite space on it. And that's why ideas can be influenced by energies, yeah, depending where you are and the people that you're with. Your thoughts are going to be influenced by other people's energy too. So when you think about this, the psychedelic phenomenon, what those substances are doing for us is that they allow us to realize that, oh, so if I am observing myself thinking, then who is aware that I'm thinking?
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
what, because you're like, that question forces you to dissociate with your mind, dissociate with what you think you are. So it's like, if I am thinking and I'm aware that I'm thinking, then who is aware that I'm thinking? Who is thinking and who is aware? There's two beings there. There's two separate entities. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. That's when you realize that we are dual beings. We have an ego and we have a higher self. Or you could call it the lower self and the higher self. And we're the middle self. But that, because we live in a fractal reality, in a fractal universe, we are basically our higher self's ego. And we are our ego's higher self. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Our ego is the higher self of its ego, and so on and so on and so on. And it goes all the way up and all the way down. And so it's all about climbing that ladder. We call that the Jacob's ladder, the ladder of consciousness, raising your consciousness via transcendental magic, meditation, breath work, and ultimately what we call the great work of alchemy, which is a very, very, very
Alchemy.
subject.
Yeah. Yes. I love alchemy. It's a very lost art. Nobody does it anymore. But going back to, like I said, to the
Psychedelics.
Yes, psychedelics. I think, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's like when you smoke a joint.
It's
real
not
joint.
for everyone.
It's not for everybody. Marijuana's not for everybody. Cannabis, THC, whatever you take, vaping, vape pens, honey oil, whatever.
Mhm.
But I was hearing from experiences because me being a veteran, a lot of veterans taking psychedelic substances due to trauma-based incidents for
Yes,
healing. It's really doing a lot of help for a lot of combat veterans who have post-PTSD or post-traumatic.
yeah.
That's not the reason why I was doing it. Wasn't doing it to escape. And I know people are going to watch this and say, well, he was doing it to escape reality. He's he must have problems in his life. He's doing it for an exit, an out, to get away from his real life and creating an alternate one in his consciousness. Farther from the truth. Okay. If you haven't done it before and you haven't really delved into the physical and the mental benefits of it, then you need to do your research and need to do experiences yourself. This is something I can tell you all day how great it is and whatever. But you need to experience it yourself in order to do it. And I can say in my particular case, the scenario, it's helped me tremendously with training, absorbing material, really being more perceptive and sensitive to
Yes.
movement. Um,
That is the thing with psychedelics, is that it opens your mind to a lot of things. It opens your mind to self-awareness, as I was saying, but also once you're able to have a look within, then now you develop this awareness. Your awareness is sharper. Okay, your observation skills, your inner observation skills, and your mental skills, your
yeah.
visualization skills are increased
And
now. And now you can have a look at certain things, even within the training, within your martial art training.
exactly. It's not just to. And people get the wrong idea. Well, you just want to lay on the couch and trip out, see dots and everything everywhere, stars
There
everywhere.
is a good, there is a good way to consume
It is.
psychedelics, and then there is a
It
wrong
is.
way to consume.
Yes. There's just like there's a good way when you smoke weed.
Of
If you
course.
want to get fucked up and just like, heck, I got a party at a barbecue, get fucked up and never get stoned over. And then there's other ways people use it to open
Uh,
creativity.
so I tell you what, I don't smoke weed anymore. I have done in the past for quite a
Mm.
while actually, but I've kind of left that because it's not really doing anything for me anymore.
For you,
Anything
yeah. And
anyway.
it's not for everybody. Everybody's experiences are different.
Everyone is different. I know some people that function really, really well with it, and
Mhm.
that's fair play. What I'm gonna say is that really what changed my life very, very, very fundamentally was psychedelics, more like like real more. I mean, the first stuff really that I did was not really natural. It was it was like a, how do you call that, synthetic
Synthetic,
compound.
man-made,
It was
additive,
MDMA, yeah, and
multi.
MDMA changed my life, bro. Like, I mean, I've had a full-on angelic experience on
Oh,
MDMA.
you gotta tell me, man.
And
It's
it's
just lethal.
changed my life, man. And then when I met a woman, a very wise woman called Abigail, that I was with for a good 5 years. That's like a psychotherapist. She's into holistic healing and
Yeah.
a lot of really interesting stuff. And she got me into the plant medicine now. So that's when I went to drink ayahuasca. That's when I went to work with San Pedro cactus and the mushrooms and that. The work that I have done with this was amazing. I mean, I have done such a in-depth spiritual work with those substances. And I mean, this is not something like you said that I done with friends just to giggle and stuff, because this to me
Mhm.
is the wrong way to do
It's
it.
far more, yeah, in depth. Yeah.
It's nice sometimes to go camping with friends and have pop a few shrooms and have a nice conversation. This is nice too. But really, when I'm talking about plant medicine, I'm talking about doing it in a very strict settings. And by
With
that,
parameters,
it should,
boundaries. Yeah.
it should be done in a ceremonial way. It should be done in a ritualistic way with somebody that's holding the space. So generally, you need a shaman. You need someone that has got shamanic training.
Mhm.
Somebody that knows how to open the space, how to clean the space, and how to keep the space clean, and how to provide this healing energy within the healing circle and the healing space. Generally, with music, with incense, with sage, with a lot of different stuff, or with the fire as well. You can make a
Mhm.
fire, use the fire as well to get rid of what you don't need anymore in your life. So the thing is, for example, when you drink ayahuasca, I remember the first time I drank ayahuasca.
I've never done it, so I've listened to your experiences.
I think that's something that everyone should do at least once in their lifetime, and they would really reap a lot of benefit from it. I know that it changed my life in good, and I know a lot of people that changed their life in good after drinking ayahuasca. What ayahuasca did for me, I remember. I did it 2 nights in a row. I went
Oh shit!
I went in the countryside with the shaman, and there was maybe like 6 or 7 of us, a group of people, all no judgment, all nice people that just have things to deal with, and we're all here to help each other. And
Yeah.
and so the first night, the shaman who brought the medicine from Peru, he just served us like a little. not too much, a little dose the first night, and it was kind of gentle. It was nice. It was really nice. It was kind of relaxing, soothing, and it was a good experience. But I was like, I've heard so many people saying, "Oh, ayahuasca is gonna kick your ass, and it's gonna be like it's worth
Well, did he
difficult,
dose you?
worth it."
He dosed you first, right? Like he's just trying to prep you for.
That's it, and that's what he was doing. And so I, I went to see him the next day, and I told him, it was nice, but I thought it was going to be much more intense, and so I kind of, when I said that to him, he smiled at me, and on that same night, the second night, he gave us the full medicine, and I had a big cup of it, and I remember. I remember after like 20 minutes, half an hour, you have to drink the inhibitor first, and then you drink the actual tea. The ayahuasca is viscous tea, and after 20, 30 minutes, I started to feel my body like shaking from the inside, but not shaking like I've ever shook before. It was like something inside of me was boiling out, and it was crazy. I mean, like that was one of the hardest experience I ever had. Like I was on my hands and knees begging for it to stop. Like, and I was purging everywhere. And that's one thing as well. When you do plant medicine in this type of settings, the ayahuasca, the spirit of Mother Ayahuasca, will target your demons, your inner demons, those fears and insecurities and problems and traumas that you have buried under the carpet. She will take that carpet and just go whoo, and all that dust is going to fly everywhere, and it's going to come out. Your demons are going to come out, and you're going to have to face them. But the good thing is that you won't be alone facing them. The spirit of ayahuasca will be with you, and she will guide you. She'll protect you from those things. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to purge those demons out. And so people have got different ways of purging. I mean, you got a lot of different types of people, different traumas.
Mhm.
For me, the purging was I puked, I vomited quite a lot, which is a very common thing when you do that type of psychedelic work,
Yeah.
shamanic work. It's called purging, where you're actually your demons are manifesting in the physical form, and you are throwing them out. You're
Yeah.
throwing them out in this bucket. There's a bucket that's specially for that, for you to purge all the stuff that's not meant to be inside of you anymore. Some people might say, "Oh, you're only puking because that shit made you sad, made you sick." Well, that's one way of seeing it, but really, that stuff has boiled all the bad energy out of you, and it's exiting you through your pores, through your nose, through your eyes. If you're crying, because a lot of people are crying as well.
Yeah.
Some people are laughing hysterically. Some people are crying.
I've seen the videos. They're fucking crazy.
Some
Motherfuckers
people need to blow their nose because it's
screaming and shit.
nose.
Yeah.
Some people have to sit on the bug. Like everyone is different, okay? But
Mhm.
basically, you are purging what doesn't serve you any longer, and that's the most important to understand when you do that type of work,
Yeah.
because it's ayahuasca is a serious thing, or any type of psychedelics for
Yes.
is that
Mhm.
you need to prepare yourself on a mental and an emotional level and a physical level too. You have to fast. You have to avoid certain food for at least 1 or 2 weeks
Well,
before.
yeah, I think the biggest thing, you hit the nail on the head. You have to go in the right mental state.
Absolutely.
Even when taking, psychoglobin, you have to go in. You can't go in having problems with your wife, shit going on at work.
No,
Problems
I mean,
with
you can't, I mean, yes, you need to empty your mind, but at the same time, ayahuasca is here to help you deal with
yeah.
those. So
Hmm.
what I like to do, and that's just me. I like to make what I call a board. So I take like a piece of paper. I prefer to have like a cardboard, like a thick
Hmm.
cardboard piece of paper, and I will draw like a nice symbol that like a nice esoteric symbol or my own glyph, yeah, or sigil that will have that meaning for me, that very, very deep meaning of what I want to manifest through this intensive spiritual work that I'm about to do with the help of the plant medicine, be it ayahuasca or Great Father San Pedro or peyote or the mushrooms.
Yeah.
so I'm putting my ideas down on that board where I'm like, right, okay, where am I in life, and where do I want to be? Is there anything that's stopping me from accessing the best version of myself? And if I'm consciously aware of it, then let's write it down. What is it? Uh, is there anyone that I need to forgive? Do I have any trapped anger within my body that I need releasing? Yeah, because the thing is that anger, people don't understand that anger and trauma is lodged inside your body. It lodges itself inside your body. It can be lodged anywhere. It's called trapped energy. Trapped. The Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. It's basically trapped negative energy inside your body.
Mhm.
And emotions. What people need to understand that emotions are energy in motion inside your body. That's what emotions are. They are emotions. They are energy motions. So basically what it is that when you become aware of that, oh, that person wronged me when I was a kid and I really need to let it go. I need to forgive that person, not because that person deserves forgiveness, but because I deserve to move on. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to let go of that anger that's preventing me from moving forward and from being the fullest version of myself. So this is what I write on that board. All the stuff that I know that I need to work on, becoming more in touch with my heart, listening to my heart, living in my heart rather than living in my head, reconnecting my heart and brain together in a way that is coherent, making the right decisions, getting rid of the people that are not serving me anymore. And by that, I mean, not in an egotistical way, but like some people are just using us. Some people, we don't realize that some people are not really our friends, and
Yes,
we kind of need
we know that too well.
to cut those people out, because otherwise there is some energy vampirism going on in there, and people are not aware of that. Very often it's one person we're feeding each other's insecurity, via false energy. That's what I call it. So, let's say you have a trauma, and let's say you're a veteran and you got a trauma, PTSD from the war, and your best friend was with you in Nam, and he's sharing the same PTSD, and now you're trauma bonding. You are trauma bonding between friends. You are actually not healing your trauma. You are drinking it to death. You're just flooding it with alcohol, and you're not healing that trauma or those traumas. So it's like a wound. It's like a psychological wound that stays open and that never really closes. Do you know what I mean? And plant medicine, if done right, will allow you to have a look at that wound from many, many different angles, so that you can start healing those wounds, those psychological wounds, those emotional wounds, those physical wounds, or sexual wounds, or mental wounds, or do you know what I mean? Or spiritual wounds. It's stuff that needs to be dealt with so that you can close those wounds and start, using that trapped energy. Because the problem with trapped energy is that it prevents you from living your life. It's energy that you could be using to be more creative, to be more, to be a better father, to be a better husband, to be a better person, to be a better friend, a better
do
teacher, a better martial artist. You know,
exactly. Do you feel that? Just get your quick opinion before we move on to the
sure.
topic. Um, do you feel that maybe if these substances were used more in the art, that we have a lot less assholes, and
Absolutely. It
and
is,
we
and
could
it is
stand
being
creativity more?
it is being used more and more. Look at people like Mike Tyson now. Look how Mike Tyson has changed since his young age. He used to be really, really troubled kid, Mike Tyson. When he was at his peak, he was a very aggressive person, full of traumas, full of insecurities. Maybe not the type of insecurities that we think of, but he had them, and he has admitted it now that he had that self-reflection, and that's what psychedelic did for Mike. You know, Mike Tyson really changed and really, really wised up. And because he grown up, he became a wise person, and that is thanks to the psychedelics, to the bufo, to the ayahuasca, to the mushrooms. to stuff that he did that gave him that self-reflection. So after people hearing Joe Rogan talking about mushrooms and DMT
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and it's like now every fighters, I mean not every fighters, but more and more fighters now.
Yep.
So
That's where
that's
I got it from.
and I said to people, I've been positively surprised to see that most fighters are very spiritual people, and I'm talking like high level fighters are very spiritual people. Even before they realize it, and eventually at some point they do realize it. When they get to a higher level, they realize their spiritual nature, because it takes a lot of spiritual work to jump on the ring and jump in the cage and do what these guys do.
Mhm.
Some of them obviously are maybe not. Some of them are very arrogant and stuff. I'm not going to name names, but a lot of fighters that I know, a lot of high level fighters that I have a good few friends that are high level fighters, and they're all very spiritual guys and very humble guys, and and they're very interested in the psychedelic work, the plant medicine work, DMT and ayahuasca and mushrooms. So I think that's something that, yes, should be explored more. I think that this should be legalized. Absolutely. I think that certain things should be illegalized, and it should be legalized. But the problem is that we live in a world where it just shows you the nature of the people running the world. They don't want us to wake up. They don't want us to expand our minds, because once we expand our minds, we can see right through their bullshit. Do you know what I mean? And then, make no mistake, the people that are making those psychedelics illegals are actually taking them. They're using them. They use them to control us. They're using them to open their minds so that they can control us and keeping us dumb with all the shit they put in our food, in the sky, and
Yeah.
and all that. I mean, I don't want to get conspiracy theorists on that on the show, but that's a reality that
Mhm.
we're being dumbed down. We're being dumbed down by those people. And
Yeah, to be controlled.
if
Yep.
psychedelics were to be legalized, the world would change big time, man. The world would change. There probably wouldn't be any need anymore for politics and for all that shit show that's happening. Do you know what I mean? That I don't think, a lot of people are like, oh, psychedelics, nah, this is for crazy. It's gonna make you crazy. It's gonna make you jump out a window and stuff like that. It's like,
Yeah.
this is generally the story from people that never tried it. First of all,
Ignorant people, yes.
I can tell you, that by experience, by personal experience, I can tell you that psychedelics will make you a more peaceful person, because you will understand yourself better. You will understand how your mind functions, your place in the universe. You will understand the universe better, and
Yep.
therefore you're going to understand other people better. It's going to give you empathy, and it's going to give you this self-reflecting uh, um, ability, the ability to put yourself in other people's shoes as well. And that's a big thing, because why there are war on this planet? Because people don't know how to put themselves in other people's place. They have no empathy, and they keep gratifying the ego. And that's what Hollywood is doing as well. When you look at the Hollywood industry, yeah, the movies, and so I'm a big movie guy. I watched movies since I was a kid. I like good I like a good movie. But also, when I had my spiritual awakening, I've been made aware. I realized that movies, especially Hollywood movies, are full of subliminal messages, and powerful subliminal
Oh
messages.
yeah.
And that's what Hollywood is. The holy wood is the magic wand. What does the magic wand does? Cast spells. And that's what Hollywood is very good for. They cast spells, because Hollywood is owned by esoteric practitioners, by Freemasons and people that are into magic. So, and I'm talking not magic with a C, I'm talking magic with a CK. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these people are teaching us to gratify the ego. And that's what Hollywood movies are all about: gratifying the killing, gratifying the ego. When you got James Bond in a movie cracking a joke after he just done someone in, like it's funny, you just took a life and you just make a joke out of it. It kind of teaches the human population to be violent, and that it's okay to be violent.
Well, desensitizing is what they're doing.
Sensitizes to violence from a young age. Look at your kids. You go to a shop in Walmart, you can buy them toys, like pistol toys, rifle toys, and and before you know it, you just put it in their head that it's normal. It's
I know.
then you
I
go
got
to
kids.
video games. Look at the
I got
first
kids.
person shooters. Like I grew up with Doom, Duke Nukem, Quake, Half-Life, Counter-Strike. All this stuff puts you, and now now I'm guilty. I'm a big kid with my toys too. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like and I'm all the day I'm doing my dry fire drills and stuff like that. But at least I got it in my head that I'm not a violent person.
Yeah.
Although, a lot of people would be scared if they got in my room because it's full of I'm a trainer. I'm a combative instructor and violence prevention consultant. This is my job. So
Mhm.
I do have a lot of things that are weapons, that are regarded as weapons.
Scary.
Training is for collection purposes, it's for
Yeah.
training. And
Yeah.
I understand the yin and yang. I understand the perfect equilibrium, which is something I'm going to speak about in a bit. The perfect equilibrium between light and darkness, between violence and peace, And that's the whole point about martial arts. And, we can't overlook that subject if we speak about spirituality leading to the martial arts, and martial arts leading to spirituality is that it's all about finding peace through training to be extremely violent, you
Mhm.
know so it's finding the yin within the yang and the yang within the yin. And by that I'm talking about the little black dot or the little white dot in the
Mhm.
black or the white. Yeah, meaning that there is good in bad and there is bad in good. It all depends on your perception level and how you perceive things, your level of interpretation and perception. So you can be a really, really peaceful guy, like I believe that I am.
Yeah.
Have your room full of weapons. You know what I mean? I got
Yeah.
fucking things everywhere. Like that's just me. But at the same time, you look around and I got crystals here. I got a Buddha here. I got Buddhas over there, and
Yeah.
singing bowls and crystals and incense. And so it's a balance. It's an equilibrium. It's finding the perfect equilibrium between the two energies. You know
Mhm.
and really when we speak about spirituality, it's really understanding that there is two main energies out there, two main energies, and those energies are what we call plus and minus. Okay, so the plus is what we call the positive energy and the minus is what we call the negative energy. And
Uh-huh.
so what would you equate this to is that positive energy is unconditional love, compassion, respect, goodness. Yeah.
Mhm.
And negative energy is fear, deception, hate, lies, manipulation, darkness, So that's really what it is. And so when you realize that, you realize that one energy is the truth and the other energy is just a lie. Although we made it true because we're using it. So it's like love is the truth, is the light, is the freedom, is the
Yeah.
infinity of the universe, while fear is the darkness, it's the death and slavery and pain. And this is finite. Do you know what I mean? So this is where we need to shift our level of perspective and understand where those unconditional love comes from. Yeah. It comes from the universal heart. It comes from the core or the source of creation. And when you don't differentiate yourself from God, if you want to call it, I'm not religious, by the way, not at
Yeah.
all. I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. I like to make my own way of praying, my own way of believing in God or believing in the universe. And I believe that God is within us. It's inside the heart. It's inside every single one of us. At the center of each particle, there is a God, what we call the God particle. This is the source of everything, the source of creation. And this is where unconditional love comes from. This is where positive energy comes from. And now you ask yourself, where does fear, if love comes from the heart, from the universal heart, then where does fear come from? And how was fear created? I believe that at first there was only love, because love created everything. Yeah. And fear was born through a thought. Fear was born at the level of the mind. Okay. So basically, fear is coming from our perception of the unknown and our fear of death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because one day one being asked itself, I am. I am that I am.
Mhm.
And what if I wasn't? And then I started thinking, what if I wasn't? What does that mean? What if I wasn't? How can I conceive not being? And that's where the picture of death came in, and the picture of darkness and death
Mhm.
and emptiness and void of emptiness, and everything is empty and there's nothing left. And that just created a vortex that just sucked everything in. And that's where the eight started. That's where the infinite quantum possibilities were created. This is where the positive and the negative started to find this equilibrium. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the equilibrium between the light and the darkness within our own psyche, is
Mhm.
understanding how to find balance between those two energies.
Yeah.
In order to find a balance, that's like when you stand on a skateboard, man. You're gonna be falling many times at first. You're gonna shift your weight from your
Yeah. Exactly.
right foot to your left foot, and then you're gonna go, whoa. You're gonna be like on the sheep. That's. I got an analogy. What we are is we are like the sailor on a ship at sea when there is a massive storm. Okay,
Uh,
so the sailor is our spirit, is our consciousness. Yeah, the sailor is driving the ship. The ship is the body. Yeah, and the ship is rocking left and right because there is a storm. The storm is life. Yeah, the hardships of life. And when you rock on the left, you're rocking onto the darkness. And when you rock on the right, you're rocking onto the light side and the dark side. So you're trying to find a perfect equilibrium between the light and the darkness. And then it goes the same. This analogy can be used for any yin and yang energy. It could be your right brain and your left brain, finding the balance between your masculine and your feminine to activate the pineal gland, and and become
yeah.
like awakened individual. What we're talking about here, once again, is spiritual alchemy, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of, there's not too much text on spiritual alchemy because there's not too many people that really understand it.
You're doing it. Yeah.
Best way is to experience it yourself. And one thing that I would recommend to people, if they're interested in this anyway, if they're interested in spiritual alchemy, is to have a look at what we call Hermeticism. Yeah, the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus or Thoth. Yeah, which are the same entity. If you have a look at the seven Hermetic principles, for example, which are the seven universal laws, there is a book called the Kybalion, which is really, really good. I mean, it's quite a difficult read if you don't know what to expect. It's a book that you have to read many, 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 many times. But once you really to start getting a grasp onto the seven Hermetic principles, then your understanding of the universe, of the cosmos, of natural laws that are governing the universe
Yeah.
in the outer world, but also in the inner world. And that's why the seven Hermetic principles are great, because you understand how things are happening in space, but you also understand how things are happening inside your consciousness, inside your heart, inside your body, inside your inner universe, basically. It's really deep stuff, man, but it's
Yeah.
I'm fascinated about, because this will make you grow as a person, like exponentially. This will make you grow to a level that's when you realize that consciousness is alive, and you can actually raise your consciousness via your understanding of self. There is
Mhm.
an old saying that goes, know thyself. Yeah, and that's really what it boils down to: understanding who we are, how we function, understanding how our mind works, and how not to be trapped by the mind, and how
Yeah.
to become the heart. I believe that we're much closer to be the heart than we are to be the head. This is an illusion. This is the illusion. This is the true self. This is
Yeah.
God, the devil. This is the ego. This is the higher self. The higher self is in your heart. Your heart will always give you a truthful answer. Your
And
heart will always tell you,
that's why they always say, listen to your heart, right? They don't say, listen to your brain. They say, listen to your heart and follow what you're going to do.
of course, man.
I'm going to switch gears. This has gone real deep. Talking about this topic, we can talk about this like the whole day. Um, I want to get into spooky time now. Spooky time, spooky time.
Can you do me a favor before we get to spooky time? Can I go for a quick toilet break, bro?
Oh, go ahead. I'm gonna lower you down.
No problems, man. I'll see you in 2.
All right, guys. Well, Mr. Julien released himself. We're gonna talk about a little bit about spooky time. So I wanted this show to be about a lot of physical and the metaphysical, the spiritual, about the art and about yourself, finding yourself. But now I want to talk about the paranormal. So everybody knows, well, if you haven't known, I've been an investigator for over 10 years in the paranormal. So I've did probably hundreds and hundreds of investigations, maybe 1,000 or so. Residential investigations in very haunted locales all across the Southwest United States, including California, Nevada, Texas, New Mexico, of course, where state I live in, Arizona, even Colorado. So I wanted to kind of talk about my experiences, get away from the, so much of the combatives and martial arts stuff. It's spooky time, guys. It's Halloween right around the corner. So I want to talk to you about some of the experiences I've had, how I got started in paranormal, the experiences Mr. Julien's had. And then we'll wrap up the show. But so I've been an investigator now for over 10 years. I've had my own team for about 9 years or so. I started out with a small team. There was about 5 or 6 of us, and then I kind of progressed, kind of broke away from them and started to make my own team. Started buying my own equipment, EMF meters, spirit boxes, thermal cameras, infrared cameras, full spectrum cameras, grid cameras, just all kinds of different kinds of equipment to document if there's afterlife. Is there something beyond what we are here on this spectral plane, on this plane of existence? Is there something beyond that? I can wholeheartedly tell you, in my own personal opinion, through my experiences in the last 10 or plus years, I believe there is life after death. We go on beyond what we have here in this existence. And Mr. Julien is back, so I'm going to bring him back up.
Oh
yeah, he's back in. So I just was kind of giving some brief rundown. This is totally nothing to do with martial arts. I know people are going to be like, "Well, hey, I thought we were talking about combatives and knife stuff." No, we're talking about something different. Today, Halloween's right around the corner. So I was telling people I've been investigating for over 10 years. And throughout my investigations, which probably equal close to maybe hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so, residential haunted locations, I can wholeheartedly tell you, in my own personal opinion, based on my experiences, my opinion, that there is life after death.
Oh, yeah.
We exist in some sort of plane that is not ours, and we are not. To say we are caught between both places is kind of maybe stretching a little bit. I believe that the experience that I've had through my investigations and my collection of evidence and EVPs, I wish I could have loaded them on here, but I don't know how to do it. I believe that those are memories, or just I really don't know what to believe. But I know there is something, because some of the stuff I've had and experienced and documented with physical evidence via media recordings, video recordings, audio recordings.
Yeah.
That there is another plane of existence that is not.
There is more than just one, man.
Yeah, I don't believe you just die and you go in the ground, or you're burned up, or you're cremated, and that's it.
In Kabbalah, which is like the Jewish mysticism, branch of Judaism, they speak about the different planes of existence. That you have the spiritual plane, where life is. This is where the real life resides. Okay, the spiritual life. So you got the spiritual plane. Then below the spiritual plane, you have the mental plane. okay, which is the plane of the mind, the mental realm, if you will. And then you have the emotional plane, the emotional realm, okay. Under that, you have the physical realm, yeah, which is what we know, the physical realm of the six senses, and the sexual realm, yeah, which is where the sacred energy is being transferred and things. So when you look into that, ghosts and life after death is basically the body dies. Okay, I mean, we all know that the body dies, but sometimes, generally, spirits that are left behind are spirits that choose to stay behind, and very often it's due to traumas, yeah, unresolved traumatic events that triggers a lot of pain or a lot of suffering, a lot of rage, a lot of anger and sadness, and sometimes it's out of love. Sometimes spirits choose to stay on this planet to wait for their loved ones because they're in love and they don't want to let go. Uh,
Yes.
Sometimes it's got to do with rage. Somebody done something terribly wrong and they've not been caught and they've not been punished for what they did, and out of rage the spirit doesn't want to move on and want to stay. So generally it's living on, it's not living on the physical and sexual level anymore, because these are physical levels, but it's still living on the spiritual, mental, and emotional level. And
And,
that's what a poltergeist or a ghost is. It's a spirit that
uh,
didn't want to move on.
well, a poltergeist is a spirit which causes a lot of mischievous activity through the electromagnetic fields, and they are. So you are partially right about that. I want to go into what you talked about rage, and
Okay.
I want to talk about two cases, and obviously due to what do they call it, the disclosure. I can't reveal the names, or I can reveal location, but not the names of the people. So we talk about rage, unfinished business in life. So the general consensus is, in my experiences, and I love that we're talking about this, is that if you were a shitty, rotten person in life, unfortunately, in my experience, when you die, that shittiness and rottenness continues to live on the other side of the realm. So,
Yeah.
two cases I want to talk about. In 2016, I was called in Alamogordo, New Mexico, to do a residential investigation. The investigation, I'll just give a quick synopsis, was a single mother of three, boyfriend, fiance, whatever you want to call him, deceased, committed suicide at the residence about 2 years prior. Um, Without going into a lot of detail, because there's minors involved, some of the kids were attacked by this evil presence. Due to my due diligence, when I took this case, I had to dig into a lot of background with law enforcement to see. Before you go into any case, you can't just take what a person says at full face and value. You have to do your research. You have to research the property. You have to research criminal records, court records. So obviously, when there's children involved and abuse is involved, I had to reach out to local law enforcement. And I had to, to ask the painful questions. Is there local law enforcement being called here? For any kind of things for the children? And they said, we're not aware of it. Anything like going on there. So I had to ask the mother, have you ever hit your kids or anything? Because I had to play the devil's advocate investigator, and she was kind of offended. Hey, I'm gonna beat my kids, and she just kept saying over and over again, it is my boyfriend's doing it. And I told him, well, your boyfriend's ceased. And I started finding the story out little by little. The boyfriend that committed suicide there. Well, the boyfriend there was a very abusive person to her children and to herself. And he was a self-harmer as well.
Mm.
If you could think of a more rotten guy from the stories I've heard, and I can't tell you the stories, disclosure stuff, about a rotten person, a shitty fucking guy this guy was. He's done it, right? Animal abuse, child abuse, domestic spousal abuse, stealing, fighting other people, just a fucking general overall shitty human being. So my team got called to investigate this. I did my due diligence. We did an investigation. I have pictures. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to show them here of bite marks on the kids' arms and the mother's arms. And the bite marks, after being measured 13 inches from top mandible to lower mandible, which is impossible. There's no way a human mouth is going to open up unless you're a python or a snake to 13 inches. So I started investigating more, and I had a doctor, it was a friend, and I took these pictures to him, and I told him, is it possible that maybe these are two separate bite marks, top and bottom, lower jaw, top jaw? And he told me it's physically impossible. He's like, because the way symmetrical of the jaw or the teeth marks line up, it's one bite. And I told him, but doctors, this is impossible because nobody's mouth can open up 13 inches. And that's what we're measured at 13 inches from the lower, the top incisor to the bottom incisor. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you. This is my professional opinion, And so anyway, I go back and I said, okay, I'm willing to take your case. We're willing to do this investigation. We're willing to cleanse this house if need be. We might have to get the church involved. So we do our investigation or walkthrough, which is basically take our basic parameters, our basic readings. So what we do when we do a walkthrough, for people that are watching, is when we do a walkthrough, we basically go through and do a full case file, and we do a reports for what's going on in the house. We take our baseline readings. So we'll go around the house. I'll take my EMF readings. I'll maybe take some audio recordings, ask a couple of questions to see if I get responses. And then, I kind of could take these baseline readings as my baseline to when I go to my actual investigation and compare what the situation is between the two readings. So when I went there, I don't want to drag this on too long. We're going next story. So when I get there, we go in the house. And I go immediately, I'm drawn, like you said, you have the intuition. I have that energy field. I'm drawn to the closet in the back bedroom. And this is a small trailer house, mobile home, what we call it.
Yeah.
And, I keep going. I'm looking in there and I'm like, why do I want to keep going to this closet? And I said, can I ask you what's in that closet? And she's like, yeah, his work boots and his jacket. And all of his clothes are still in there. His knife that he used to carry, where he stabbed some guy back in 2003, right? He stabbed some dude with his knife, the buck knife. It's in there. So I was like,
he still had that. He stabbed somebody with a blade, and he still had that blade. The police not took it, or?
Well, we're not going to go too much in there, but apparently he was never caught. But anyway, I go in there, and I just feel nauseous. I feel sick. I feel like vomiting. I get a headache. I feel like the room's spinning around. So I got to leave out of that room. I got to get out of here. So when I'm walking back to the bathroom, I see in the corner of my eye, I see a shadow. And I told her, do you have any cats or dogs? She's like, no, I don't have any animals here. My landlord doesn't allow me to have any animals. I'm like, I just saw something pass by in the grounds. She's like, oh, yeah, we see that all the time. And she told me, just sit down and wait a while. You'll see some stuff happen in the kitchen. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. So I have two of my other team members are females. And they go back there and they're saying they're feeling nauseous, they feel sick. So she's like, just go ahead. You want something to drink or something? I was like, yeah, I need to get some water. I told her, I feel like passing out. So I get some water and I'm sitting on the couch. And I said, can I ask you what his name was? Because I need to ask questions, Mm-hmm. And I say, well, his name is, it's Manuel. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, okay, so his name is Manuel. And as soon as I say that, the floor, because I don't know if you know about, they don't have mobile homes in England, do they?
Yeah. Like gypsies.
Well, they're raised up like underneath. There's a crawl space. So I'm sitting there, and I say his name. I was like, "You mean Manuel?" And I hear a boom, 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 and I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I was like, "Manuel, are you here?" And I heard boom, 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 and I'm like, "What the fuck?" So I told my team member, I was like, "Go outside." Because there's kids there. I told, go outside, make sure there's no kids underneath the fucking mobile home, and they're being stupid, hitting a fucking pole or something in there. And she's like, okay. So she goes out there. She's like, there's nobody out there. It's just us. And it's getting evening time, so it's about maybe 6:30ish or so. It's starting to get dark a little bit. So I go there, and I was like, wow. I was like, it seems like every time I say his name, Manuel, I was like, he doesn't want me to say his name. So when I'm sitting there, I shit you not, a dish falls off the counter and breaks. So I'm like, holy fuck, we got something really bad here. I told, okay, this is enough for today. You know, I don't want to, you know, whatever. So we go home, we break up, we all agree as a team. We're coming back tomorrow night around 8 o'clock. We're going to set up cameras. We're going to set up equipment. We're going to do an overnight investigation. We're going to stay here till 6 in the morning. So we're going to stay there all night. Lock ourselves in. We ask the mother and the kids to leave. We're going to lock ourselves in this mobile home all night. Just us. Turn all the lights off. Complete darkness. Just gonna be in there. So I go home and go to bed. Whatever. 1:30, 2 o'clock, or 2:30 in the morning, I get a phone call, a text, and the mother's calling me. She's screaming, and she's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "I don't know what you did in here." She's like, "But all of our shelves are open, and all of our dishes and things are broken." And I'm like, our refrigerator's open, all of our food's thrown out. And I'm like, what the fuck? So she calls me, she's on video and she's filming it. And she's like, look at all this stuff that's in here. And now, of course, I'm kind of like, well, you didn't do that, did you? Why would I throw all my stuff out? You know, why do I break all my, I'm a poor single mother. I don't got no money. You know, why would I break all my dishes? So she's like, can you guys come tonight? And I told her, yeah, I think we need to come tonight. So I call everybody up. Now it's 3 in the morning. And I have some real troopers on my team, and they're down like a motherfucker. They're like, "Oh man, I'm sleeping. Let me wash up, wash my face. I'll be down there. Let me get my jacket. We'll be down there." So I was like, "I need you guys now. We need to do this now." So we go there, and man, that was probably one of the most harrowing investigations I've had, because not only were we there, I had team members that were scratching back of their head, back of their neck. One of the women got a scratch so deep, I mean, she had bleeding right on her arm. We had to put a Band-Aid on it. I felt nauseous. I had to get out of there. At that point, we were there for 3 hours. I have pictures, which, if you believe, are on my sites. I was allowed to post them, of shadows, a couple of dishes falling off. And the guy that was there, he was there, and he did not fucking want us there at all. He made it apparently clear he did not want us there. There was growling in the closet where his stuff was at. I have that documented on EVP. So at that time, I felt it was very dangerous for my team to be there. And I told them, we got to leave, guys. We got to get out of here. Let's cleanse ourselves. Let's do our Saint Mike Archangel prayers. Let's do our closing prayers. Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's leave. We do our prayers. We leave. Immediately I go to the Catholic Church in the morning, and I told them, you guys need to perform an exorcism or perform a blessing on the house. This house is very evil. The guy killed himself on the property. Well, it turns out the guy killed himself in the back of the trailer. Not inside, but outside, directly outside the window where his stuff was at. He shot himself with a shotgun, obviously blew his head off. Going details. So, man, they couldn't even cleanse the house. It was so bad. They went in there. The priest went in and said, I can't do anything for this house. It's so bad in there. He's like, I don't know what you guys did. He's like, I understand you guys try to clear it out. He's like, but I think that it's so bad now. He's like, they're going to have to move. So the lady there, she's like, I got to move. I can't be here anymore. She's like, my kids are in danger. And I said, you guys need to get the hell out of there. So they moved, and the guy landlord there, he didn't really believe any of it. He's kind of like, well, there's nothing here. I did show him the recordings and everything, and he kind of just was like, wow, I didn't have no idea what was going on in there. He kind of went in there, and he felt the same thing, nauseous, and he's just like, you know what? I'm going to sell this thing. So he sold it. I don't know where the trailer's at now, but it didn't stop, because the last time I've heard, the woman's living in Roswell, New Mexico. Roswell's the UFOs landed at. She lives in Roswell now, and she's still having activity at her home. And she's asked me over the years, can you guys come? And guys, I've tried. Do you need to get a demonologist or something? I cannot get rid of whatever you got. That man or whoever he is in there is very evil. There's something attached to him. He doesn't want to leave you guys alone. So that case was a little disappointing and something I couldn't solve. I mean, I forgot about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting story, bro, but scary as well. I'll tell you what. In those sort of cases, the best thing to do is just to move, leave them.
Well, like I said, my own personal experiences. I had an attachment back in 2003. I went to the Green Valley Cemetery in Nevada. I did an investigation there. Whatever had followed us here, right? Try to get rid of it. Try to get rid of the attachment. Move somewhere else. Daughter kept seeing the same woman in the white dress. It took me approximately 6 years to get rid of whatever attachment I had from that cemetery. So they will follow you from place to place.
Mm.
You have to ask them to your time is done here. You need to cross over. You need to leave us alone. Move on with your life. Move on in your other realm. Lots of times that will work. They'll understand that because remember, these people were living at once. Okay,
Yeah.
they don't know they're dead. They think they're still alive. Okay, so lots of times it takes very deep cleansing, very persuasive talk when you're communicating. Now I have a spirit box. It's SB1 connect to a special. I think I know if I showed you before. You might have seen this in my videos where I'm able to talk to white noise and communicate with some of the spirits. Do I know their spirits are communicating on the side? No, I don't. It's been scientifically proven. But when I hold up a glass and I ask something on the box, what am I holding? And you hear it say, I'm holding a glass. That's all the convincing I needed. Hey, you're watching me. I've done sessions in my house where they've told me you're wearing a black shirt. It's pretty fucking scary. Like they're watching you. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm looking around. Oh, you're with me here. Okay. So it's not as easy as I understand as people say, to tell them to move because they will follow you. In my experience, anyway.
I
Um,
I think that ghosts are still, they're still spirit, they're tormented spirits. So it's like psychology.
yes,
It's like when you're alive and you go to see a psychologist to try and sorry to try and make you figure out what's your problem and what you
yeah,
need to do in order to feel better. Well, there are people like do you remember the movie Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis?
yes.
Now
An empath, sensitive.
you see
Yes,
that little boy, Ali Joel Osment, I think his name is,
yeah.
who played the role of the boy. That's what he's doing. He can see them, and he realized that the best way to get rid of them is to try and solve their problem. You know,
Yes, communication. That's why I said we always try to communicate. Try to ask what do they want? Why are they
exactly
here
how
for?
to help them. How to help them.
How to help them cross? Yes.
But like in the case of what you just said, like that, when you
Well,
have
that man didn't want to cross.
when you have like a violent spirit like this, or an aggressive and violent spirit, very often, I mean, it's scary because it's a spirit, but it's the same like a human being. You're facing a traumatized being
Mhm.
that is full of traumas, and that is kind of perpetuating the wheel, the wheel of trauma, as I call it, the vicious circle. And so, yeah, it's really difficult to I believe there are some, you can call them priests. I mean, there are some priests that are with the Catholic Church, that are
Mhm.
specializing in exorcism and things like that.
Mhm.
But you also have like shamans,
And we
shamans.
have used those. I've used Native American shamans because a
I,
lot this
I,
area
I'll
we're at.
I'll be honest with you. I would place my trust much more into the hands of a Native American shaman.
We've had a lot of Native American hauntings in the last couple of years because this is all Native American land. This is all Apache Navajo land. There's a lot of burial grounds there, a lot of Indian sites there. So I have had my share. Like I said, obviously I'm not going to share all my experiences and up here all day, but we've one that kind of sticks out with the Native American is Mesilla here is a small town next to us, which is Billy the Kid territory. I'm not familiar with Billy the Kid, right? Old West. A lot of Native American land there. There was a real bad investigation we did there. Was a Native American. They dug underneath the house was a lot of relics, pottery, arrowheads, some clothing, maybe even some bodies. I don't know. That wasn't discovered, but it was a Native American area, and they started seeing a lot of Native American spirits in their house. That is an instance where I had to contact one of our mediums, who is actually a Navajo and Apache psychic medium, spiritual healer, and she lives in Arizona, Melinda Williams, and she's a great man. That woman is. Well, we won't go too off topic, but that Natalie Holloway stuff that just happened, she predicted that a long time ago. She even tried to tell people where the body was at, and nobody ever listened to her. But that's another thing to talk about. But she's very accurate in her readings. So I had her go and cleanse that house out, and then she did a lot of
Yeah.
shamanic magic. She put burned the sage, Palo Santo, some native herbs, And she was able to cleanse that house, and she was able to tell them in the language, "Hey, you need to cross over. This isn't your land anymore." You know, and that was a successful one. Okay, that was a successful one. The one other one I want to talk about before I know we're going on 45 minutes before I leave, is another one I took, and it's actually, you could see the video on my site. This was another one. Most of the cases that I see are people fooling around with black magic, Ouija boards. Want to be quote unquote, you know, the cool thing now for every teenage girl and boy, I'm a witch, I'm a sorcerer, I can do spells, you know. That's like, okay, well, I've had a couple of cases not related to this one I'm gonna talk about, that people fooled around the Ouija board trying to communicate, trying to set parameters to do demons to do their bidding. You know, I'm doing magic, you know, I control you now, I summoned you. And I tell people, you know, you bring this upon yourself. Whenever you do stupid shit like this, you bring this shit into your house, you bring it into your life.
Yep.
It affects your well-being, your mental well-being. You know, demonic possession, and I've seen, not demonic, I've seen spiritual possession with one of our team members. We went to an area that was an old West town, ghost town, and this guy was in a trance. And man, I was talking to him. I'm like, Ryan, like, dude, like, snap out of it. Like, you know, like, he's just like in a trance. And he started getting aggressive, and he's like, man, what the fuck you talking about, man? Leave me the fuck alone. I'm like, dude, like, calm down. Like, relax. You know, like, and he's just like, I told him, go out and get some air. You know, I was ready to, I mean, I was getting pissed off. I was like, dude, like, you need to calm down, go get some air. And he was outside, he went outside, he's like, dude, what happened? He was like, I don't remember him yelling at you. Like, what happened? And I seen him get taken over by something. So it is real.
Oh yeah.
But going back to this case.
Go on.
The case was the same thing as suicide. Man killed himself in the house. I believe there was a portal in that house because it was several spirits that had made contact through the spirit box. And I have a video of the shadow, and you can see. I think I've showed it to you before. It's on my webpage, Other Side Paranormal Group. Okay, so I'm setting it up this scenario real quick. Downstairs, my teammates. I got a camera set up pointing up the staircase, because supposedly between two rooms, the son's room and her room, there's a shadow they see every night going back and forth. Okay, so the shadow supposedly goes in there and grabs, you know, and I asked the husband, you know, most men are not believers in the paranormal. Most women are. And the man has a big nose, a 6'2" cowboy type dude, cowboy boots. And he's like, oh, I thought my wife was fucking crazy. You know, I thought I was going to put her in a mental ward. You know, she's schizophrenic, because she was like, I'm seeing shadows. Something's grabbed me at night. He's like, until one night, he's like, I get off work, because he's working an oil field. I get off work, I come in home. He's like, and I'm so fucking tired. He's like, I need to take a shower. I just jump in bed. I'm just laying on the bed, and my wife's next to me. He's like, and she just starts, like, you know, moving around. And she hits me, and she's like, you know, leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep. And I'm like, I'm not touching you, right? You know, one of those things, like, we know, like, you're sleeping with a girlfriend, your wife's like, I'm not touching you. And he's like, yeah, you are. You keep grabbing my arm. Like, leave me alone. I'm trying to sleep. So he's just like, all right, whatever. He goes to sleep. He said, according to his witness testimony, her head literally was picked up from the pillow, and he could see her hair up, like, suspended, like something was grabbing her hair and was slamming her head in the pillow. And he's like, dude, he goes, I've never been so scared in my life. You see how big I am? He goes, I was fucking terrified. He goes, I ran out of that room. He goes, I grabbed the baseball bat. I don't even know why I even grabbed the baseball bat. He goes, I couldn't even see what I was hitting. Because I swung where her hair was at, and it was just going in the air. And every time I would swing, it would slam her head down on the pillow even harder. Right? So anyway, it went on for 3 or 4 minutes. Not long, he said it went on. He said he called the cops. Cops came out. They're like, what the fuck? You know, obviously they're thinking that he's beating his wife. So like, you hit your wife? And she's like, no, she didn't, you know, he didn't hit me. But United States, you know, if a woman says that, you know, she's getting hit, they're going to believe the woman. They're not going to believe the guy. So he's like, you know, do you want to do anything? She's like, no, I don't want, you know, just go. They left. Took a report and left. Well, she's like, I'm begging you to do the investigation in my house. So I set the camera up. Okay, I go there. We did our investigation. Not much activity upstairs, so to speak, right in the beginning. Go downstairs, and you can see this on my page in the video. I'm communicating. There's lights going off. I'm saying, like, blink 2 for yes, 1 for no. And you can see across the room, and it's answering my questions. what do you want here? Are you evil? 2 for yes. Yes, it's evil. So anyway, we do our investigation. I was like, wow, this house is pretty active. There's a lot of shit going on here. Right. And she's like, well, same thing scenario. I have some of his furniture here. I need to move it out to the garage. Get rid of his shit. Okay. Because his shit, he's attached to a lot of his shit. He was a woodworker. Guy used to do woodworking. So he used to do a lot of stuff with wood. So a lot of his cabinetry stuff was there. So anyway, bottom line, we do our evidence review, which is we do after investigations. I look at the video and I call her over. I say, you want to come see this video? I got something pretty fucking extraordinary. I think you need to see. She's like, okay, you mind if I bring my son? Because her son's a teenager at the time. He's getting attacked as well, supposedly. So okay, I'm like, all right. So I want you to play. I'm gonna play this video for you. What is it you see in this video? And I play it. And she saw it. Oh man, she let out a shriek and she started crying and screaming. And she was grabbing onto my arm so tight. And she's like, that's what I saw. That's what attacked me. And I was like, the shadow? She's like, yeah, look. And if you see the shadow in the video, and I'll link it later on, you could see it's a very tall shadow and has long fingers. And it's like this, like it's moving fast back and forth. And she looks at her son, and her son said, that is what it pushed me in the closet. That same shadow is the same shadow I saw. So anyway, we went back and they had moved. They sold the house. And I told her, do you want me to tell the new residents what's going on in the house? And she's like, absolutely not. The state of Texas does not require us to tell if a house has been haunted or somebody's died in it. So therefore, like, it's their problem now, which I think is kind of fucked up. I was like, well, maybe they have a right to know because maybe they're going to have activity in their house. We don't know what's going to go on. And she's like, it's not my problem. And she's like, I'm just glad I'm out of this. I don't have to deal with it anymore. She's like, and then that was one case where nothing did follow her.
Have you seen the movie 1982 movie The Entity?
Yes, with Barbara Hershey. That was based on a true story as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
That reminded me of what you just said before. That's what.
Well, she wasn't sexually violated. She was only attacked, like with her hair. She was scratched. But it was one of the cases I remember that still haunts me to this day because that shadow I just can't get over. Like, we caught something here, guys. And I've sent it to different paranormal shows, and they've kind of like, well, we're going to analyze it. And they're like, it does seem genuine, but, we're going to use it, but we're not going to pay for it, or like, not going to get any credit for it. I'm like, fuck that. I took the video. It's my thing. And I started talking to the woman. She's like, I don't want my video posted online. She's like, and I asked her consent. She's like, I don't want that thing shown. What if somebody recognizes it inside the house? I said, well, it's at night. You always see a staircase. Well, it doesn't matter. She's like, I don't want it shown. So I couldn't really show it anyway. But she did allow me to show it on my Facebook page.
Tell you what, man. I mean, kind of bringing my understanding onto all that. I know that such a thing does exist. I know that there are cases. I know that there's a lot of stuff. There's people getting abducted. There's all sorts of things happening. But I try, because I've had issues of my own, with dark entities. I try not to feed it too much of my energy, because the thing is, the more you think about them, the more they think about you. It's like,
well, you're opening yourself up. Yes, you are. You're opening yourself up. Yes.
Even though I believe in that stuff, I believe it's there, it's out there, and it's happening. But like I said, I'm trying not to think about it too much. Having said that, bro, now if we're talking about, you said the youngsters nowadays are getting into witchcraft, and you have a lot of stuff, okay, and that is nothing new. There is a lot of esoteric schools of magic. You got the Wicca, WICCA, which is witchcraft. Yeah, that's a thing that certain people are into when they're young. It really depends on the sort of person, okay, and how old the spirit, how old your soul is. But there is, if you look at there is like the Golden Dawn and the Theosophy, and you had this guy, Aleister Crowley.
Oh yeah, I was just talking about that. That's my Facebook thing.
Who was
the man was the genius when it comes to the occult.
Oh yeah, he was into all that stuff. And then you have like arts that are a bit like the mixed martial arts of magic is called chaos magic, if you look
Mhm.
into it, which is regrouping all the magical arts. And with, so basically, I tell you what, it's like I said to you earlier, there is two main energy. You got the light and you got the darkness. And
Mhm.
so magic with the CK, okay, not with the C,
Mhm.
magic with the CK has been demonized a lot because when people think about magic, straight away they think about black magic. And what is black magic? Black magic is um, using dark forces, using dark energy to manifest what we want at the detriment of others. So it's basically not caring about people.
Mhm.
So there are ways to summon demons and to actually get them to work for you, but they will ask something in return, and very often it's blood sacrifice or it's something. Yeah,
Mhm.
uh,
You have to
there,
give something to receive something. So that's
yeah,
what black
and
magic
so
is about.
that is black magic, and so you have a whole book called the Goetia. Yeah,
The Grimoire, yeah, the Goetia, yeah.
Gotia, which is a book it's a demonic book with all the legions of the 72 legions of demons, and how to recognize them, how to differentiate them, and how to summon them, and what they can do for you. Um, if you look at Solomon's magic, yeah, that's what it's about.
Lesser Key of Solomon, yes.
The lesser key of Solomon or the greater key of Solomon. You can have a look at that stuff. Obviously, it's serious stuff. You know, it's not stuff that I
Mhm.
would just fuck with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, no, and that's
I'm
something
aware.
you can dabble in, yes.
I'm aware of it. But for me,
Mhm.
I have been practicing magic for years. Okay, but I do it. I don't do black magic. I don't mess with that stuff. I do what I call white magic. Yeah. Uh, I have some degree of gray, what I call gray magic knowledge. Okay,
Mhm.
which is a mixture of black magic and white magic. But gray magic is to defend yourself. Yeah.
Mhm.
So black magic is to hurt people. Yeah. White magic is to heal yourself or heal other people. Yeah. Gray magic is to defend yourself against black magic. So you still need a degree of knowledge of black magic in order to apply gray magic. Okay. But basically, what it is, for me, it's always been white magic more than anything else because meditation, for example, NLP, meditation, self hypnosis, that's what it is. It's considered as white magic. It's personal development. It's a practice, a spiritual, mental, and emotional and physical practice that will raise your consciousness. Yeah, that will make you a better person, a nicer person, more knowledgeable person. It could be stuff that we call sex and magic as well. Stuff that Aleister Crowley was into as
Sex
well.
magic, yeah.
Only he was into the dark aspect of sex and magic. But you can look into the light aspect of sex and magic, yeah, which is stuff that
And,
I've
and you know,
practiced.
Crawley, everybody's like, well, if you study Crawley, you're a Satanist. The man was ahead of his time. If
Man
you
was
really look
ahead of his time,
past,
but he was definitely not into the white stuff too much. He
yeah,
was
I'm not saying he was a great guy. Okay, he was a fucking, he did a lot
Yeah,
of shit.
it was a bit mad if you ask me. He was knowledgeable ahead of his time. There's
Yeah,
no doubt about that. But you know, like
his life is fascinating. It's just
nah.
fascinating life.
No, but when you look into, like I said, you look into white magic, yeah, that can be white magic on a spiritual level, on a mental, emotional, physical, or sexual level. You can do sex rituals as well that are not necessarily bad. You know, you can, if you have a
Mhm.
partner, if you have a partner that, let's say, she believes in the same stuff that you believe in, and you do that meditation, and you can, what I used to do with my partner, that I was with for 5 years, that was really much into that type of thing as well, is we used to manifest stuff with the power of the orgasm, you know, with our sexual energy. We used to think of what we're going to manifest. So, you know, before we were making love, we were like, right, what are we gonna manifest today? You know, what are we
Yeah.
gonna, the energy, because the
Mhm.
orgasm is the most powerful creative energy that we have as human beings. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is that release of the seed, that release of the most creative energy that we have. So we used to actually choose and decide what we're going to use that orgasm for, what we're going to manifest. And so we would think about it, set our mind for it, and at the moment of the orgasm, we would picture that. We would picture that in our head. So that's called, as long as there is no dark energy involved and it's all coming from a space of healing and the heart and love, then that works. Like sex and magic can be positive, can be a very positive things. I know I've used it very positively. Now, if you look at, for example, what we call transcendental magic, yeah, which is a way that you can visualize your what like a blueprint of your spiritual body, if that makes any sense, yeah, like the blueprint of your auric field, yeah, your energy body, yeah. And what you do is you bring improvement, you improve, basically it's like a software that you would update. Do you know what I mean? You update the software because the software is getting a bit old and now some updates are available, so you update it so that it works to the best of its ability, yeah. But that's the same thing with transcendental magic. You can update your software here, and the way that you think your operating system here. I know it's a bit complicated. I mean, it sounds a bit complicated. When you work with psychedelics, you can do that quite instinctively. I know I've been doing stuff like that instinctively, but there's two ways of doing stuff. Yeah. There is the right brain and there is the left brain way of doing stuff. Or we call that the masculine way, the male way of doing things, or the female way of doing things. And it's got to do with the gender, with physical gender. That's not what it's about. But it's basically uh, your your the female side, which is the right brain, is all about artistic thinking, curved lines, uh, instinct, all that stuff. While the male thinking, the left brain, is more about logic, mathematics, straight line, problem solving. Do you know what I mean? So when you do magic, sometimes you can actually do magic from your right brain, where it's instinctual. You don't even know how you're doing it, but you're just doing it because your body remembers it. The body has got its own intelligence and its own memory, like spiritual memory, if you will. And when you take certain psychedelics, when you take mushrooms, for example, and you just kind of breathe and meditate, sometimes you just do that magic on your own through your right brain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people doing magic through their left brain now are people that know exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it. They got incantations. They got a way to summon certain spirits and how they're going to formulate their incantation and exactly where they're going to stand. Are they going to face north, east, west, or south? Are they going to be using some sort of incense, some sort of candle, certain light, certain type of color? They know everything. This is the male way of doing stuff, where they have control over their ritual. Do you know what I mean? This is more like what Aleister Crowley was doing.
Yeah.
I have more experience with doing magic from my right brain. Okay. Where I automatically, I just don't know how I know, but I just know, and I'm just doing it instinctively.
We're talking about the occult.
Yeah.
Occult symbolism is all in martial arts. Look at the shirt you're wearing. Look at the one I'm wearing.
Absolutely. But when you think now, the occult, yeah, has been used. I mean, since I got spiritual, since I really became aware of my spiritual nature when I was 25 years old, so it was in 2012. Yeah, I realized that it's my martial arts got completely next level, and there's another thing, because you were talking about summoning spirits. Yeah, well, if you don't know what you're doing, don't fucking do that. Don't do that. I have been doing stuff like that when I was just getting into my spiritual awakening, and I was taking MDMA, and I was exploring stuff that maybe some of it that I shouldn't have explored in my head. Do you know what I mean? But what I used to do is I used to do channeling. Have you heard of channeling?
Yes.
So I used to channel stuff. I used to channel light beings, like good spirits.
Angelic beings, yeah.
Yes, and I was doing automatic writing. I got I got 2 full books of automatic writing, stuff about how to connect with your heart, how to wire your heart and your brain in a coherent way, how to get rid of your suffering, all the different types of breath work, interdimensional magic, like your
Mhm.
your your um your quantum selves and how to align with the different quantum
Mhm.
selves. I mean, I've I've been hit with so much stuff that I was writing it or drawing it, and I was like, "Shit, where is this coming from?" And it's there, you know. There are ways that you can channel, and if you want to have a look at one of the best channel work ever, have a look at the Law of One, the raw material. Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
The Law of One is
Mhm.
basically a group of hippie scientists back in the 80s that just discovered this. They just
Yeah.
basically that woman started channeling that being, that high
Mhm.
energy being that was calling himself Ra. The same Ra of ancient Egypt is basically a
The one
social.
Crawley manifested too. What was the name of that one that Crawley manifested? The alien type of that being in Boleskine House. Remember he did
That was
direction to
that was a
summon.
dark, that was a dark entity, man.
Yeah.
But Ra is a light entity, is a light being, it's an angelic being, like a sixth density. Look, bro, if you look into the Law of One.
Yeah, I've briefly glanced into it, but yeah, I've heard of it.
Hey, it's amazing. Like there's like hours and hours and hours of channeling, recording.
Yeah. Mhm.
You can tell. You can tell from the way that
Mhm.
woman speak that it's no one
Speaking in
speaks like
tongues,
that.
yeah.
It's just like an angelic language.
You
Like
know what? In my experience too, a lot of people they talked about when they try to channel white entities.
yep,
Those are dark in disguise. You just have to
it
decipher
can happen.
when.
It can very easily happen, and it happened to me. And that's why I
It happened
stopped.
to me during a communication session when I was doing an investigation. I was fooled. Oh
Mm.
yeah, we're talking. This may be something that's trying to help cross over. Boy, it flipped the switch fast on me.
That's why I stopped doing that shit because basically they say when you channel an entity, you need to make sure that they are who they say they are.
You always got to close the door too.
Yeah, they can't lie. That's the thing. The dark spirits cannot lie because
Where they are.
they can they can try to pass themselves for somebody else,
Mhm.
pass themselves for
If
a
you
light
ask them to reveal themselves, they have to tell you.
to
Yes.
recruit you. But basically, what it is that if you ask them who they are, and if you ask them if they are serving the greater good, if they are serving the light, are they light angelic light
Mhm.
angels, or are they with the light of creation? Are they representatives of unconditional love and stuff? If you ask them and
Mhm.
they don't reply to you, then it means exactly what it means, because they cannot lie to you, so they rather not reply. But if they reply that they are the embodiment of Christ consciousness, and they are with the greatest goods, the highest of the highest,
Uh-huh.
in terms of the light of creation and unconditional love and all that stuff, then you are indeed talking with the light being, and they are very. These are the beings that want to help us. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, those beings cannot answer all our questions
Yes.
because they
Yes.
cannot infringe our free will. It's all
Mhm.
about the free will and not infringing the free will.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
this is amazing stuff as well. Like all that
dude,
topic.
this has been like we're going on 2 hours, 10 minutes now. This has been fucking amazing, dude.
Yeah,
I
man.
I knew we were the right guy to. I knew we were gonna get carried away. This is like I've been wanting to do this for a while. Then after the training, I was like, man, I want to talk about it. And then I know we do our training and we got stuff to do afterwards. But this, I wanted to get a platform so we could talk about this. Just before we end this, any upcoming seminars and stuff you want to plug, or any about your new site or anything?
Yeah. So, well, for anyone that wants to have a look at what I do in terms of combatives and martial art, okay, which is completely different than what we spoke about today. For people that want to see what's happening, I got a website called www.adrenalinecombatives.com. Yeah, there are videos on it. There's like articles, videos. I got courses as well. If you guys want to learn, I got some courses that are available to purchase. I'm gonna have some new courses coming up soon. Um, the YouTube channel is Adrenaline Combatives. Quite simple. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, Adrenaline Combatives. And
It should be up on
so,
the thing.
in terms of seminars, so the next seminar that I have in the UK is going to be on the 26th of November, so next month, and it is a car combative seminar where we're going to have a look at how to deal with violence from a seated position inside the confine of the cockpit of a car. So what we'll have a look at is we will have a look at some boxing, some striking principle inside the car. So we'll have a look at the 5 ways of attack. We'll have a look at different tactics and strategy and different skill set, impactive skill set inside the car from a seated position. So learning to strike from restriction, learning to develop concussive stopping power from a seated position, which is not easy for everyone, takes practice. Uh, We'll have a look at how to use the car as a weapon, so environmental damage, secondary tools, all that stuff. Then we'll have a look at some wrestling principles inside the car, so like a car jutsu. Yeah, we'll have a look at that, and then we will mix up the two, and then we'll start throwing weapons in there. So we'll start create scenarios like road rage scenario, the type of scenario where you're a taxi driver and you're the guy in the passenger seat is become aggressive, maybe pulls a weapon on you, how to deal with that sort of scenario. And of course we'll have some good old milling inside the car. We'll have some good old pressure test at the end. And so that's what I'm doing on the 26th of November in UK. We got banger race track cars for that, so that's great. We got cars that we if anything happens to the car, we're not bothered about it because that's what they're for anyway. And what's after that? On the 2nd of December, I'm in Portugal. I'm teaching a seminar in Portugal with my friend Sergio Pereira from Combate Urbano from Sofia. So yeah, there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff coming ahead, and then next year, beginning of next year, I'm gonna start weekly classes as well, Adrenaline Combatives classes, where we're gonna have a look at all the elements that will increase your combative abilities. Okay, so having a good solid striking game. So we'll have a look at boxing and elements of boxing, Thai boxing, left way. And then a good wrestling game, so elements of judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo, MMA, and the weaponry, which is like the trinity of Adrenaline Combatives is a solid striking background, a solid wrestling background, and a solid weaponry background. So learn how to use all different types of weapons, the different families of weapons, the different categories of weapons, and how to use them from different ranges, and then kind of mix it all up. We do scenario training with role play simulations, get all the way to full contact when people are ready. And there's going to be seminars pretty much every couple of months on different topics. And I also offer private sessions, either in person or online, like you're doing with me.
And I want to jump in there. I highly recommend it, guys. Been hearing. I mean, obviously, we know that's not the substitute for in-person training. I get it. I've been hearing that shit for fuck how many months of hey, you gotta train. Yeah, I get it. I understand that. But you have a solid training partner. So for me, like I'm just telling how I handle it. When me and Julien we train, I take we do our drills, we do our classes, whatever. Then I take that with a partner afterwards and I work it. Okay.
That's it.
No one just fucking sits there and just fucking, okay, well, I wrote it down now. I got it now. You got to work it. Okay. You got to get a partner.
The good thing is when we do stuff online, okay, there's stuff that we can do and there's stuff that we can't do. So we kind of tend to focus on the stuff that we can do. And as an instructor, you need to be able to obviously show stuff to your students that he can do with a partner, or on the if you got a bob, like you have a bob, I have a bob dummy, where we can do stuff on the bob or on the bag. But mainly when it comes to online classes is really get you also the knowledge, the soft skill, the personal protection skill set, and knowledge of personal safety and all that, to get on point. So every time you take a lot of notes, most of my students take a lot of notes about the stuff that I teach out there, which is the non-physical option. And then in terms of the physical option, we try to have a look at solo training, because the solo training builds your skill set. So it's basically it's your skill development, tactical and technical development. Okay, once you got your technical development, I'm also showing you some attribute development, something that's meant to better your attributes so that you can perform the skill set a bit better. And then, of course, if you're intelligent, which you are, you're actually taking what I'm showing to you and you're going to apply it with a partner, with live energy.
Pressure.
So you're doing the right thing.
Gradual pressure increments in pressure testing. Start out, maybe 20, 30%, work your way up. I'm like you. I've just started teaching an online class
Nice.
and stuff. And because this person lives in New York and the other person lives in Colorado. So we're not able to train in person. So I'm getting my feet wet in it, and it's actually, I have Bob, or sometimes I'll have my partner here, a guy I train with, and we'll demonstrate stuff in person. And excuse me?
How are you finding it?
Man, it was a fucking pain in the ass at first, and now I can see what you're going through. So I was like, now I can see what he's going through. He's teaching me, but
you need to adapt your training methodology.
Yeah, I'm trying to adapt it. When I have the training partner here with me, the guy I train with, I'm able to show it more rather than showing it on the Bob.
Yeah.
But right now we're kind of getting into the very basic of the system, so we're not really getting into the whole everything yet. So I'll let you know how it goes. I mean, I'm in week 2. I got to do it today, later on this evening.
Okay.
So I'm trying to set up the room and everything for what I'm gonna teach tonight, what module I'm gonna teach. But it's challenging. I mean, it's not as easy as I thought it was gonna be.
When you do stuff like that, you're gonna understand, the VAC principle. The VAC principle is basically understanding that each students are operating on a visual, auditory, and kinesthetic level. Yeah, I know I'm a visual kinesthetic learner, so I need to see stuff and I need to do it in order to get it.
That's where I am too. Yeah.
You're just telling me stuff just with words. It's very likely to go through one ear and come out.
What I'm saying is, like, when I demonstrate on Bob, it's like, and then they're like, well, when I have a live partner, it's obviously better. So they're like, oh, it's different now. But well, yeah, because Bob can't move; he's stationary.
Yeah.
But my partner, when we're getting into, I'm at my 2-on-1, I'm dropping my weight down on him. You can see me dropping the weight down on him, and he's kind of sinking. I can't do that with Bob. Bob, I'm just kind of like, he's just like, well, no, I see it now. Like, now you're dropping your weight.
It's like I said, some tools, some training gear is good for certain things. I think Bob is amazing just for solo training and just to develop concussive impact with your shots and get this human shape. But it's not going to give you a realistic energy.
No, you definitely need to supplement your online training with a live person.
For sure.
Don't just do Bob, guys that are watching. Don't just think, you train with Bob and it's going to be it. You got to do.
I was actually thinking about maybe organizing like a Zoom class. Basically, what I need to try to do, and that's project for the coming years, is to try to develop some sort of student base in the US and start with online, with online courses where we could do weaponry. We could have like a different topic every time, and once we have like a nice base, like a student base in the US, then I could come and do a few seminars. You know what I mean? But
that'd be awesome. Yeah, definitely looking forward.
I've not done a webinar yet. I've not done a webinar yet.
Yeah, we need to do one. I was going to ask you, like, we need to do a webinar on the topic.
Yeah, I'll definitely do a webinar.
Who was your partner you had last time? The bald-headed guy? He's funny.
Who?
When he was demonstrating, he was in your apartment that one time when we did a class.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Need to get him back again.
Matthew. Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good idea. I just need to put it out there, see how many people are interested, and just do it.
Well, I got a feeling a lot of people would take it, and then we'd advertise heavily on here too.
Yeah,
it's more accessible, the webinar. It's more appealing to people. So
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have a look at my I'm gonna have a look at my diary, and I'm gonna try and organize something next month, November. I'm gonna try and do one for November and see if we can put it out there. And the good thing about it is I don't need to rent any space. So whoever shows up, and it's fine. So, but yeah, I'm thinking let's maybe try and organize something for next month. We'll do like a weaponry one. We'll do like a knife, like a offensive blade tactics. I'm sure people in the US will be really interested in that.
Yeah, but definitely. We're gonna have Terry Tron, Weaselcraft. I believe you're a friend of his on there. He has a system's called Weaselcraft.
Weaselcraft.
Yeah, he does. He has a Patreon. Anyway, watch episode. He does a lot of self-defense stuff with blackjack, knife. He does like a lot of prepper stuff, like survival stuff. Yep. He's gonna be coming on next week, Saturday. That's gonna be a great interview with him. Okay. I'm actually looking to kind of train with him on some stuff, just to see his take on a lot of different stuff. We've been talking, so I got a feeling, between you and him, it's like, fuck, I'm ready for anything the world throws at me, pretty much. So there's no scenario I can't cover between both of you guys. You know what I mean? So
you train with as many people as you can, as long as you resonate with people. Go and have a look at what everybody else does. Like, some people are very good at certain things, and that's why I advise people to do.
I truly believe, though, like that only a handful of people I've seen. Todd Fossey is another one I'd love to train with, and with the weapons and stuff, the integrated defense with these pistols and stuff.
If I was you, if I was living in the US, I'd be training with Craig Douglas, mate.
Craig Douglas too, yeah.
Oh man, I love the stuff he did. That guy is a genius. He's one of my favorite instructors. In fact, it's on my bucket list, man. I'd love to train with the guy someday. If I come to the US, I'm definitely going to see Craig Douglas.
Dude, you need to come here, man. We need to get your ass over here.
I'd love to, bro. I'd love to, man. I'll tell you what, just like that. I'll tell you what, because I've been thinking about this. I'm just getting established in this business. Little by little, I'm starting to build a reputation, which is good. What I'm ready to do, at least for the first time, is I'm ready to come and do a seminar for nothing, as long as it doesn't cost me anything. So if somebody
has to pay for you,
if somebody just gets my plane tickets and either a hotel, or I don't even mind staying at someone's house. I'm not one of these 5-star hotel type of guy, but if somebody is ready to pay for my plane ticket and just look after me while I'm here, accommodation wise, then I'm ready to come and teach a seminar or even a weekend seminar for nothing. I won't do that all the time, but
I'll hold you to that. I'm gonna hold it to it. Guys, it's being recorded right now, so you heard me say.
Exactly. That's what I'm putting it out there. If people want me to come and do a seminar, I'll do a seminar for you.
I'm thinking about it. It's just that my area here, a lot of people are BJJ and karate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of getting that hard sell of combative stuff to people here, but I think I might be able to put something together. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been great, fantastic.
Thank you for having me on, man.
Doesn't even seem like a fucking interview. It seems like we're just shooting the shit like it's privately. But thank you guys for all watching. Yeah, it's been great. It's good to break out of the norm, not talk about the same stuff all the time. And I didn't want to have you on talking about self-defense, combatives. I want to talk about something different. So I'm glad we got to talk about stuff. You can see the other side of you.
Back and forth conversation type of thing. That's what makes a podcast interesting, isn't it?
It's great. It was great, man. Hang out a little bit. I'm gonna do my outro, and I'm gonna lower you down. But thank you, sir, for coming on. Thank you, guys. AdrenalineCombatives.com. You want to seek them out for training? I highly recommend it. Like they said, I'm not only I'm not only a sponsor. I'm a user. Or whatever they say. Anyway, I could testify to it. Great training. I wouldn't advertise it, but on the show if it wasn't. So, I'm gonna lower you down. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Hang on a little bit.
See you in a bit, guys. Take care, bro.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We're going a little 2 hours, 24 minutes. Went a little bit over too much, but that's fine. That's fine. I want to go ahead and let you know that Coach Kurt is coming on tonight, and he's coming on at, let me see. I have to see the time here. His guest is going to be Mr. Jim Webster, and they're going to be talking about. Hold on a second, I'm pulling it up. Oh, hold on a second. Sorry, my internet connection sucks here, guys. Let me see. We're going to be coming on today at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Episode 15 is going to be with Jim Webster. So Chaos 615 is the name of the system. So watch it today at 3 p.m. I believe it's going to be, it doesn't really say, I think it might be Mountain or Eastern. I'm not sure yet. I believe it's going to be Mountain time. So look out for that. We got some great shows coming up to you guys in the coming months ahead. We're trying to do our best to line up good content. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the show. I know we haven't been putting out as many episodes lately, but just the way it goes. We all have lives, all that stuff we're doing, and just the way it goes. But we all thank you for supporting us anyway and watching. And anyway, all right, guys, thank you for watching. Please seek out Julien for any training you guys want to do. GentlemanBattles.com. And I will see you on the 28th of October, Mr. Terry Tron, Weaselcraft, another great gentleman in the self-defense world. We were talking about survival, prepping with your EDC, training for real world. What's going on in the world today is fucking nuts, guys. We got to be prepared. So we're going to be showing it all. All right, guys, make sure to watch Coach Kurt, and I'm out of here. Peace. See y'all later.